Kadosh, Boker Or, I wanted to share with you a beautiful idea that I saw in this week's Parashat. We know we wanted to look into a little bit of the story of Lot. Lot in this week's Parashat, we know he was the nephew of Avraham Avinu, right? But not only was he the nephew, he was also the brother-in-law of Avraham Avinu. Remember that Sarai was the daughter of Haran, and Lot, right, was the brother, right? And therefore, what happens is that Lot is always tagging along to Avraham Avinu. Other than when the point where Avraham Avinu finally decides and he says, I'm sorry, we must part our ways. You choose one way, I'll choose the other way. And then it was a nighttime once, and the Chazon Ish was looking from the balcony of his house. And he was looking a few minutes at the different light systems that were in Bnei Brak. So one of the family members went and he told the Chazon Ish, right, what's so interesting about the lights at nighttime? I'm saying, like, imagine, you're going outside, you're in a balcony, you're looking at all the lights. So what's so interesting? So the Chazon Ish answered him, it's so incredible that when a person is found under light, he has no shade, and the shade disappears. But the more that he distances himself from light, so therefore the shade, the shadow, right, will come and it will connect according to the distance from the light. What was the kavanah of the Chazon Ish? The kavanah of the Chazon Ish was to hint to a person that the more that a person is going to annul himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to annul himself to somebody that's greater than him in Torah, so therefore he says that's only going to be, right, shayach if he's mivatel atzmo legamre, only if he's 100% completely batel. And the more that he sees, right, the greatness, right, what does that mean? The more that he's distancing himself from light. Meaning the more that a person sees that he himself is great, the more that he's distancing himself from light. In Parashat Lech Lecha, that's the story of Lot. Lot was a person that he was always jumping on two different sides, right? And what does that mean exactly? And we're going to try to understand. We see that Lot was with Avraham Avinu. He was with Amud Chesed. And he was underneath him, as it says, Vayelech Avraham Vayelech ito Lot. He went with him. Imagine being in a school, right? Which that's what it was. It was a school of Olam Chesed. The house of Avraham Avinu was a school, 24/7. You saw how Avraham Avinu was putting emunah in everybody. You saw that, there was all of a sudden a fight between the shepherds of Avraham and the shepherds of Lot. And right before it, Avraham Avinu comes and he says, let's not have a fight. Now, if you already know what's going on and you always want to be with an Avraham Avinu, you're just going to quiet everything down and listen. It's just not worth it. But Lot was not like that. Why wasn't he like that? Because he never humbled himself to Avraham Avinu. Vayisa Lot mikedem, vayiparedu ish me'al achiv. What does that mean? The Midrash Haggadah says, what does that mean that Lot traveled from the east and he separated from his brother? He says, I don't want nothing to do with Abraham or his God. It wasn't just a physical, we're moving away from each other. It was something spiritual as well, that he was like disgusted from it. And therefore, and what's the proof? Where did he go to live? He went to Sodom. And it says, Sodom ra'im v'hata'im la'Hashem me'od. They were bad with their bodies, with their money, with everything. They were terrible. But look at this. All of a sudden, right, when he's in Sodom, he becomes the family member of Avraham Avinu again, right? In this place. He's the only one that's going to take the guests in to, bake the matzah, what's going on over here? And then he even gives over his daughters. And he says, you know what, don't take the daughters, don't take the guests. Do whatever you want. What's going on then? How do we actually understand, right? Where is this ideology coming from exactly? So the Maharal comes and he says like this: Haporesh garua yoter mimi shemeolam lo haya karov. If somebody wasn't close and was never close, that's one thing. But somebody that was so close and then he distances himself, he becomes much worse than anything else. But somebody that was always distant, it could be that he might be able to become closer, but it just never came before. Lot was karov v'yitrachek, and he distanced himself. So it's a siman that there's a complete disgustingness. Because if Be'emet, it wasn't so, it wouldn't have happened. And that's what Dara Shrava might think. What does it mean? Lot separated because of his ta'ava of Mammon. He wanted so much money that he just separated from Avraham Avinu. So therefore, he had this hashkafa, right? This was the lot that we had in both sides. He was always dancing by two weddings. He wanted to grab Ki'ilu by Avraham Avinu, but he didn't want to take away from the other one. And therefore, he wanted to benefit from everything. And this was like to mix everything up. And therefore, we always have to remember the chinuch that Lot got in the house of his father, Haran, the brother of Abraham. Remember that Abraham, when he went and he fought with Nimrod, Haran was neutral. What does it mean neutral? He wanted to see who's going to win. And therefore, Nimrod came and he said, you're going to bow down. And if not, I'm going to throw you into the fire. He didn't care. Yeah, he didn't care. Avraham Avinu said, throw me in. And therefore, Haran was on the sidelines and he's watching and he says, 1 second, if Avraham Avinu is going to come out alive, so I'm going to do the same thing. And if he's going to get burnt alive, I'm going to go with Nimrod. So therefore, right, he was neutral. He wanted to find out. Nimrod, he was so upset, right? What happened, right? He threw in Avraham Avinu and he came out alive. He was so upset. He took Haran and he threw him in and he got burnt immediately. Avraham Avinu comes inside because he knew he was going to be Mekadeshim Shamayim. That's why he was saved. Haran went in not because he wanted to be Mekadeshim Shamayim. He went in because he had that ideology. Whatever's worth it. If it's worth it, I'm on his side. If it's not worth it, I'm on their side. If I'm worth it, that side. And that's the way it is. So Avraham Avinu, right? And that's called Chetzi Emunah. That's called Ki'ilu, that what serves me best? What's my best interest in this case? Avraham and Sarah, they teach us Torah Chesed. What is Torah Chesed? Torah Chesed is the exact opposite of what's in our best interests. It's what's the truth. What is our purpose in this world? What is our job, our service in this world? In Parashat Vayera, we talk about the oil of Avraham Avinu. Any single person was able to come in and to have food. Any person, even Michalim Shabbat, didn't care. At the end of the day, they're coming. Make a bracha. Bless HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Give them a blessing. And why? Because he's Amuda Chesed. The entire thing was, he wanted to be like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore he comes, and if there was one day that he's not able to emulate his creator and serve also these Arabs or whoever that's coming to them, he's saying, Chaval, I could have done Chesed. And that's why he's hurt and he wants it. Lot didn't understand that. And therefore, at the end, he was ani, he was lacking everything. After many, many years of this ideology, right, we come and we see, right, there was somebody called Naomi. Naomi, right, comes from Ammon and Moab, which they come from Lot. Naomi is in front of her two daughter-in-laws, Ruth and Orpah, right? So Naomi is a Jewish woman, we know, and Ruth and Orpah, they come from Ammon and Moab. So these are the granddaughters of Lot. And what happened is that now they're trying to see what is the beauty of Judaism or not. And Orpah comes and she turns her orif, her nape, against her mother-in-law. And she says, I'm sorry, okay, you don't have any more children, I'm going to go. Virut davkaba. And Ruth clinged to her mother-in-law. Orpah took her lesson from Lot, from her great-great-great-great-grandfather. And Ruth changed it to the good. What does that mean? They had the exact same thing. Ruth, right, comes and says, I want the truth. I don't care what's in my best interest or not interest. I need to do the truth. Orpah was, right now, it's just not kedai. Beforehand, when she had a husband and there was money and there was everything, yeah, she'll get married to a Jew. But the second there's no money and there's no nothing, she's going back to her father's house. And therefore, that's the lots from within them. Our job is to understand the differences between them. And Bavonotenu Rabbi, nowadays we see it all the time. You have countries, right, that many times you come and you look at them and you say, these people, they're in peace with Israel and they support Israel, but it's only for the best interests. And all of a sudden, they could be coming and conquering other cities, and they could be killing innocent people, and they could be doing anything that they want. And all of a sudden, when it's now Israel's turn to defend themselves, all of a sudden, ceasefire. All of a sudden, no, it's called cruelty. Oh, all of a sudden, now it's not good anymore. Or all of a sudden, and that's what you see. But that already started from Lot. that already started. What is kedai? What is the best? What is my best interest now? But they're not looking for the truth. If you look for the truth, you stand up for the truth, even if it could be that sometimes it's not in your best interest. But if you're going to start looking that, you know what, depends on what goes, so depends who's winning, I'm on their side, that's when the entire world loses. And that's what happened with Lot. Lot loses it. It's true, we had to unmask Lot. Lot had a good cover-up. He had a beautiful picture. He came and he had a mask on for many, many years when he was with Avraham Avinu. But finally, the mask comes off when all of a sudden it's not anymore in the best interests. And then you see the true face of who he is. And that's how we find out who exactly is Lot. Bezrat Hashem, I just hope that we're able to internalize this message, but always standing up for the truth, standing up for what's right, understanding and take off the mask and understanding what always you have to do what's right, not what's in your best interest. Because what's right is always in your best interest. That's what we always believe in. And Avraham Avinu was coming and teaching us. But Lot, when he came and he didn't want to accept it, was because he didn't subjugate himself to Avraham Avinu. He was saying, who's this Avraham Avinu? Who's this exactly? I'm better than him. I'm just as good as him. Why do I have to be any different? I'm also as good. And therefore, since he didn't annul himself and subjugate himself to his rabbi, to his teacher, so then he just lost and he distanced himself from the light. And that's exactly what happened to Lot. He almost was completely killed and obliterated. There was nothing going to be left of him. But that was all because of Avraham Avinu. He was only saved because of Avraham Avinu. And Avraham Avinu tried to bring him back. But it was just very, very difficult. Because a person that doesn't subjugate and doesn't humble himself before other people, they're going very, very far away from what it is, the true light. Shabbat Shalom.